There are moments in life that make you stop completely, not because they are loud or dramatic, but because they are unbearably quiet. Moments where everything around you continues as normal, yet right in front of you, something is ending. Or about to. That day began like any other, until I received a call asking for help. Someone from a small village on the outskirts had discovered something unusual near a roadside trash area. They said there was a dog inside one of the garbage bins. And it looked like it had already died. But what made them hesitate, what made them decide to call for help instead of walking away, was the fact that there were still small movements inside that same pile of trash. They believed there were puppies. It was cold that day. The kind of cold that doesn't just sit on your skin, but slowly seeps into your bones if you stay outside too long. When I heard that there might be newborn puppies left in that condition, there was no time to think. I got into the car immediately and drove straight toward the village. The road leading there was quiet. Too quiet. Fields stretched out on both sides, and the wind carried that dry, empty sound you only hear in rural places during winter. As I approached the area they described, I could already see several large garbage bins lined up along the roadside. Some were overflowing, others had their lids half open, and scattered trash surrounded them. I parked the car and started walking. At first, I checked one bin after another, lifting lids, looking carefully inside. Nothing. Just waste, plastic, and discarded things people no longer wanted. But then, at one of the bins further down, I heard something faint. Not loud. Not clear. But unmistakable. A sound that did not belong to garbage. When I got closer and looked inside, I felt my chest tighten. There was a dog. She was lying still, her body already cold. It was clear that she had been dead for some time. Her fur was dirty, her body thin, and she had been thrown away as if she were nothing more than another piece of waste. But she was not alone. Right beside her, pressed against her body, were 4 tiny puppies. They were still alive. They were so small that their bodies barely moved as they tried to stay warm. Their eyes were not fully developed, their movements weak and uncoordinated. They had been clinging to their mother, even after she was gone, searching for warmth, for milk, for something that no longer existed. For a moment, none of us spoke. Because there are situations where words don't help. You just stand there, looking at something you wish you had never seen. And at the same time, something you cannot walk away from. We didn't waste time. The puppies needed to be taken out immediately. The temperature was dropping, and if we had arrived any later, they might not have survived the night. One by one, we carefully lifted them out of the trash bin. Their bodies were cold to the touch, and some of them were barely responsive. As I held one of them in my hands, I could feel how fragile life really is. At that size, in that weather, without their mother, they had almost no chance. We wrapped them quickly and placed them in a box to keep them together and warm. Someone suggested leaving the mother behind, but none of us could do that. No matter what had happened, she deserved more than being left in a pile of garbage. We took her with us as well. By the time we left, the garbage truck had already started moving along the road. If we had arrived just a little later, everything we had just found, the mother, the puppies, would have been taken away without anyone ever knowing they existed. That thought stayed with me during the entire drive back. When we arrived at the rescue center, the first priority was clear. Check the puppies. We didn't know why the mother had died. It could have been illness, poisoning, or something contagious. And if it was a disease, the puppies might already be carrying it without showing symptoms yet. We began with basic examinations. Their breathing was weak but steady. Their bodies were cold, so we focused on warming them gradually. Sudden heat can be dangerous for animals in that condition, so everything had to be done carefully. After that, we prepared milk. At that age, they were too young for solid food. Their teeth had not even begun to grow properly, which meant they were likely just over a month old. They should have still been completely dependent on their mother. Now they had none. We mixed warm goat milk formula and tried feeding them. At first, some of them didn't understand what to do. They pushed the dish with their noses but didn't drink. They were used to their mother, not to a bowl. So we used a syringe instead, gently feeding them drop by drop. One of them began to drink. Then another. Slowly, instinct took over. Watching them feed for the first time was a quiet relief. It meant they still had the will to survive. Over the next few hours, we monitored them closely. Some were more active than others. One of them was noticeably stronger, its small body moving with more energy, while another seemed weaker, its movements slower and less coordinated. But all of them were alive. And for now, that was enough. The following days required constant attention. Because of the unknown cause of the mother's death, we conducted tests to rule out infectious diseases. Some illnesses can remain hidden during an incubation period, which meant one test was not enough. We would need to monitor them and repeat testing after a few days to be certain. During that time, feeding became a routine. Every few hours, day and night. Warm milk. Careful monitoring. Cleaning. Keeping them warm. It was exhausting, but necessary. Because without their mother, every small detail became our responsibility. Gradually, their condition improved. Their bodies became warmer. Their movements stronger. They began reacting more when touched, making small sounds, shifting closer to one another as they rested. One of them started drinking on its own from a small dish. It was a small moment, but it meant progress. Another still needed help with the syringe, but even that was a good sign. It showed that the instinct to feed was still there. Days turned into a rhythm. Feed. Rest. Check. Repeat. And slowly, life began to return to those fragile little bodies. The test results came back. No infection. No immediate signs of disease. That was the moment we could finally breathe a little easier. It didn't mean everything would be easy from that point on, but it meant they had a real chance. As the days passed, their personalities began to show. One was more active, always moving, always pushing forward as if eager to explore a world it had barely entered. Another was calmer, often staying close to the others, seeking warmth and comfort. They began to respond to voices, to touch, to presence. The fear that had been there in the beginning slowly faded. What replaced it was something much more important. Trust. Even though they had lost their mother in the harshest way possible, they were still able to accept care, to adapt, to continue. And that, in itself, was something worth protecting. We set up a warm space for them indoors, away from the cold, where they could rest safely. Soft bedding, controlled temperature, regular feeding schedules. Everything that their mother would have provided, we tried to replace as best as we could. It was not perfect. But it was enough. Looking at them now, it is hard to believe how close they were to disappearing before anyone noticed them. Just a few hours later, just a small delay, and their story would have ended inside a garbage truck, unseen and unheard. But it didn't. Because someone stopped. Someone looked. And someone chose not to walk away. In the end, rescue is not always about dramatic actions or grand gestures. Sometimes it is simply about being there at the right moment. And choosing to care. And for 4 small lives that began in the cold, beside their lifeless mother, that choice meant everything.